What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Guys, the long awaited 911 reviews are back. The new season of 911, season 8, just started. I think it was last week. The past 911 reviews that I did on my channel did extremely well on my channel. I think one of them is at 3,000 views right now, which is the best video that I've ever had done on my channel, like the most views and likes and comments that I've gotten on a video ever. So for everyone who loves and has been watching and liking and commenting my 911 reviews, I just want to say a big thank you. I did not really expect those reviews to blow up just because I didn't know how many people loved 911 and were willing to watch me just like talk about the episodes and review them. But I just thank you guys so much. Like, it means so much to me, like you don't even know. And I think those are the videos that really started to rack up my subscribers and stuff. So once again, just a big thank you to you guys. I really appreciate it. So today we are going to be jumping into season 8 episode 1 of 911. I'm going to talk about episode 2 a little bit, but I didn't write too many notes on episode 2 just because the storyline for episode 2 was just basically about one thing. But if there's anything that I don't cover in episode 2 that you would like to know my opinion on, feel free to drop your questions down in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. That's pretty much it for this intro, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the video. So going into episode 1 for, this season, I had kind of forgotten how the last season ended. So I was kind of going in with an unrefreshed mind, which is good because I wanted to like kind of be surprised. And one thing that I forgot happened is that Bobby did in fact quit. And they ended up putting Captain Gerard back into place for the 118. So when I started the episode and I saw Captain Gerard, I was instantly disappointed because I was like, God, I forgot this freaking douchebag is back. Like, we open up the episode with Captain Gerard doing his, I'm assuming, daily inspection of everyone's duties.
Firefighter Wilson, your boots are scuffed. They should be polished to a high luster. Unsatisfactory. Do it again.
Yes, sir.
Firefighter Hahn, on a clean floor that would spread evenly. Instead, it's globbing. Unsatisfactory. Do it again.
Copy you, Captain Gerard.
Diaz, did you shop for mess today?
First thing, Cap.
Chief's up my ass about budget cuts and you're buying organic fruit leather. Unsatisfactory.
I'll do better next time, sir.
As you can tell, most of the time he was not satisfied. Now, most of the team is taking it pretty well. Hen, Chimney have dealt with this before. If you remember, I don't remember specifically what season, but in Hen and Howie's Begin episode where we learned their backstory of how they became a firefighter, they both worked for him when they first joined the station, so they're used to Gerard's kind of berating and putting them down. So they're taking it pretty well. Doesn't mean that they like it, but they're taking it pretty well just because they've dealt with this before. Eddie was in the military. Eddie, served. So I feel like the way that Gerard treats them is no different than how they treat them in the military. Very like berating, very degrading. It's supposed to be motivating, but like they're firefighters, so it's like there's really no need for it. He's just miserable. So, but Eddie's taking it pretty well, honestly, so I would assume that this is something he's used to. Now, Buck is the one we have to worry about.
Buckley, why are there loops in the hose bed of that apparatus?
Loops make for a faster carry. Captain Nash.
Captain Nash quit 3 months ago. Spread the crapper. 1 week.
Already gave me latrine duty, sir.
2 weeks.
And Buck is so me in this because I'm looking at him and his facial expressions, and like, if you know me personally, like, it's really like I 9 times out of 10 won't say anything if something is like bothering me or rubs me the wrong way, but I won't have to because my facial expressions will definitely tell you what I'm thinking. And this is Buck the entire time. Like, he's watching how he's talking to his teammates and he's just like looking like, why? Like, this is so unnecessary. And Buck can't help himself but to talk back to him, which I totally get because me and my mom have made this joke before. Like, if I ever joined the army or the military, I wouldn't be able to. I would always be getting in trouble because my facial expressions are just so bad, and like I just can't take it. The way that the rest of them are just so calm about it is like baffling to me. And I'm with Buck. Like, I would not be able to just sit there and take it. Like, I would have to say something and be like, why are you like this? Like, what is your problem? We cut to the scene where Athena is called into her captain's office, and there are two people from the federal government there to talk to her about her job they want to put her on. So, you know, she sits down and they tell her that
we'd like you to escort that prisoner from Phoenix back here to LA to be deposed before a grand jury.
It's Dennis Jenkins.
if you watch the show, you'll know the history behind this, but if you don't, Dennis Jenkins is a criminal that murdered her fiance when she was very young, when she was first becoming a police officer. He murdered her fiance, and for 30 years, maybe plus 30 years plus, they were looking for the person who did it, and they could not figure it out. They didn't discover who did it, and then 30 plus years later, she found out who it was, Dennis Jenkins. So she ended up putting him in jail, and I'm not quite sure the timeline of how long he's been in jail since she discovered it was him, but they're asking her to escort him because he made a deal with the federal government that if he got information on this other prisoner that he was bunked with, the other prisoner, I forget his name, but he was a child sex trafficker and all that stuff. They told him that if he got information on this prisoner that he was bunked with, that they would give him early release.
He's a cooperating witness.
And what exactly is he getting in exchange for this cooperation? Time off?
Early release.
You setting him free? You're setting him free? He murdered a police officer.
At some point, her captain tells them, like, okay, can you just, give us a second to talk about it? So they leave, and Athena asks her captain, like,
why are they asking me to do this chaperone Emmett's killer to freedom?
Her captain eventually ends up telling her that
They aren't asking. Dennis Jenkins is. He requested you.
which is wow, because, like, why? Like, this is the officer that put you in jail. Like, you would think he would want nothing to do with her, even though he knows, like we saw in the episode where he was getting sent to jail, he knows that what he did was wrong. He, like, hid out for 30 plus years knowing he murdered someone and, like, started an entire family, like, instead of turning himself in. Like, that's wow. Like, that's wow. Well, after this scene, this is the whole scene where they are, I don't know specifically what they call it, but I would call it conditioning, when they're, like, exercising and they're running, like, up the stairs, like, to the roof, and Buck tells them,
Guys, I can't do this anymore. Okay, I made a decision. I think we should all quit.
But then we wouldn't be here.
his idea behind quitting is that if they all decide to quit, then, like, the higher up authority of the fire stations, like, I guess the fire chief, would see that they made a mistake in firing Bobby and that they would bring him back. And it makes me so mad at Bobby, because he's so dramatic. Like, this is not the first time we've had to get Bobby back as captain of the 118, and I'm like, why do you keep stop being so dramatic, like, please, because now you're not here and your team misses you, and now they're under the authority of Gerard. Like, bro, I can't. Either Eddie or Howie that ended up asking,
Has anybody talked to him?
I think he's been pretty busy with his new crew.
so you would assume that he got assigned to another firehouse or something like that, and at first they give off the impression that he is at another firehouse, but we soon learn that Bobby is working on a movie set for a fireman movie. This is shocking. This is, like, interesting. This is really weird. Instead of assigning him to a different firehouse, they're just like, okay, we're gonna put you on the set of a movie so you can help make this, like, fireman movie more realistic. Honestly, the last thing I expected of Bobby, like, this is just really random, but I'm kind of interested to see where this goes. So as we know, each season they open up the season with a crazy emergency. Like, last season it was Bobby and Athena on the cruise ship, and the cruise ship started sinking. So the crazy emergency for this season is a B-nado, which is a B tornado. And basically how this whole emergency started is there was a truck on the highway or the freeway carrying 22 million killer bees. You would think there would be a safer way to transport killer bees, but apparently not. And basically this truck ended up I don't know what specifically happened, but it ended up like crashing on the highway, and the killer bees fell off of the truck and escaped from their boxes or containment. So basically there's this mother and this daughter on the freeway when this happens, and they don't crash into the truck, but the truck crashes right in front of them, and the bees end up escaping and swarming their car. So there's just killer bees all over their car, like crawling all over their car, which is, it just gives me the chills every time I think about it. Like, can you imagine? So of course the 118 ends up coming to help them, and they're trying to figure out a way to get these bees off this car because everything they're trying isn't working. They're trying CO2, you know, they can't just swipe them off. To add on top of this stress, the mother and the daughter inside the car both have bee allergies. So yeah, every time I think they run out of like emergencies to put into the show, they come up with the most crazy concept of an emergency, and I'm like, I need to know who is coming up with these concepts, because I just would never be able to think, yeah, let's like make killer bees and turn them into a tornado. Like, I love this show so much. It's like so entertaining. Like, so eventually Buck comes up, because Buck is just a pillar of information. Like, he has so many, I love this about Buck, he just has so many facts in his head, and he's just so smart, and I love him, and I think that's why he's such an asset to the team, and that's why Gerard hates him, because he's so smart, and he's like, he thinks outside of the box when it comes to emergencies. So basically he sees smoke coming from the underside of this truck, and he remembers or realizes that beekeepers use smoke to calm bees down when they're transporting them, like, you know, from the beehive or whatever. So he, you know, informs Eddie, and he's like, we can use these, like the fans that they're using to transport the smoke from under the truck to the car where the bees are. So they grab the fan, they put it in position, and the smoke is blowing onto the car, and Gerard sees this, and he's like, you know, like, what are you doing? The bees have visibly calmed down. Like, once he approaches them, they're not trying to sting him, they're not trying to swarm him. After, you know, they transport them to the ambulances, Gerard comes up to Buck, and he's like,
Luckily, that smoke thing, that was some independent thinking.
you know, Buck thinking he's giving him a compliment, he's like, you know,
Thank you, sir.
KP duty, 1 month.
he ends up giving Buck KP duty, which is, I had to look this up, but is kitchen, what is it? Kitchen patrol duty for a month. It's supposed to be punishment, which is just like, wow. Like, I, you know, think outside the box and like help save this mother and daughter, and you punish me for being innovative and not like following orders, which we've seen this in Gerard before, like in Hen's Begin episode. She basically came up with the idea to save that mother and daughter from the mudslide, and she goes outside to get the hose and puts it in the mud to lift up the mud or loosen it to get the mother out, and he got mad at her for thinking outside the box and saving the mother, even though like the mother ended up dying in the end, but it was still really innovative and thinking outside the box rather than what they were doing, trying to shovel her out, and it was like not working, like, you know. So he just gets mad when he's not as smart as his team, which is why Bobby was also so important to the team, because he praised his team for, you know, getting the emergency done, or like saving the people in this emergency quickly, even if the solution isn't by the book. It's just like really crazy to me that he punishes his team for being innovative and thinking outside the box when it comes to an emergency. In another scene, we see Buck putting up some type of decorations, and he's venting to someone about the whole situation.
So he punishes me for thinking on my feet, and then I hear him on the phone to the chief, and he's taking credit for my idea.
Yep. Sounds like Gerard.
And then the camera pans over to Tommy. Because I remember in the last season, a lot of people were saying they didn't know if Tommy was going to be back for this season, which I found really hard to believe, because I was like, there's no way they're just going to like put Buck in this relationship, like new relationship, him questioning his sexuality, and they're not going to bring him back, like his partner back. Like, why would they not do that? So we see that Tommy is back. I don't know how many episodes he's going to be in, but we saw him in the first episode, but I would absolutely love to see him in more episodes, because I just felt like, I mean, we spent a lot of time on Buck and Tommy's storyline last season, you know, them like developing their relationship. But I feel like there's still so much that we don't know about their relationship, and I would just love to see their relationship develop more. I would love to see, what would I love to see? Them maybe face some challenges. You know, I saw a lot of you guys say this in my other reviews, some things you guys would like to see when it comes to Buck and Tommy. I would love to see them go through some type of issue that they have to work through. I would love to see him maybe learn to be more comfortable around Tommy. Like, I think we see them now, they seem really, really comfortable around each other. They're just the cutest ever. Like, in this scene, they're setting up for Christopher's birthday because Eddie is going to FaceTime Christopher, and they're setting up, and they are going to hide behind the couch to surprise Christopher, and they're like putting on party hats, and they're being really playful and flirty.
I'm sorry. You want the red one? Has anyone ever told you you were a vision in a cone?
Hey, birthday!
And it's just really cute to see how comfortable they become with like joking around. Like I said, don't know how many episodes Tommy's gonna be in, but I would love to see more of them this season. We're still in this scene, but moving over to Eddie and Christopher. Now, like I said, Eddie is preparing to FaceTime Christopher for his birthday. So they're putting up decorations, putting on party hats and stuff, and he's planning to surprise Christopher with Buck and Tommy. So once he gets on FaceTime with Christopher, he's just like,
Wow, Chris, 14? It feels like you were 13 when? Yesterday? I miss you, buddy.
we see that Christopher is still upset with his father when it comes to the whole Kim situation last season, which I totally get because that was just a hot mess. He's giving him like really short responses or response because he only says one thing to him. In the middle of the call, he ends up like walking away from the camera and like going to hang out with his friends, and Eddie ends up having to talk to his mom, you know, saying,
well, don't give up, he'll come around. But look at him with his new friends, right?
Who are all these kids anyway?
Well, a few are from the pool club that we've been going to, and then there's Izzy and Gianna are from down the street.
The pool club?
Yeah, he loves the water so much. You know, your dad and I are thinking about putting in a pool of our own.
Wow, great.
And we can see on Eddie's face, he's like really upset that he's missing out on these things when it comes to Christopher. And he's also upset that Christopher's still upset with him, which I don't know how that whole thing is gonna play out with like him and Christopher. It's really sad. I think it was the best thing for Christopher at the time to go live with his grandparents because Eddie's life was just spiraling. Like last season, Eddie was just crazy. I did not really expect his storyline to go down that road, but yeah, it was the best thing for Christopher to go live with his grandparents. But now I'm just wondering, you know, what that's gonna look like for Eddie and what his storyline is gonna look like this season. I'm really interested in seeing that. Now this next scene is just really funny to me. There's really no like point in mentioning it, but the next emergency that they faced involving the bees is there's this influencer that is launching her own perfume line. So she's having a launch party and there's a bunch of people at her house. Her perfume happens to be a floral scent, which, as we know, bees are attracted to floral scents. So the night before her launch party, she's setting everything up, and we see that the bees, because we learned from the news broadcast on there that the killer bees don't usually fly at night, they settle down at night, so they find somewhere to settle down. Well, it just so happens that the bees happen to settle down on top of the roof of her tent or her house or whatever it was. So the next day when she's hosting her party, she invites her assistant up to test her perfume, and she sprays her down with the perfume, and that's when the bees attack. So the bees end up attacking her, and she jumps into the pool. Well, what we didn't know, or what she didn't know, is that bees hover above water, so they're literally waiting for her to get out so they can continue to sting her. The 118 comes and they're trying to figure out a plan to like get her out of the water, and Buck proposes an idea and he's like, well, the smoke worked last time. And Gerard just, I can't emphasize this enough that he hates Buck so much. So he's just like, no more ideas, like go inside and hand out waters and check for boo-boos. And I'm like, so insufferable. Like, why does he have to be so miserable? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. He ends up going inside, and this one girl is like, I'm never going to a launch party again, like this was a disaster. Or Perfume launch party. And you know, obviously Buck gets an idea because he's so smart, and he's like, did you say like perfume? And she's like, yeah. So he goes outside and he tells his captain,
I have an idea, if I may, sir.
I mean, you don't like it.
Well, he probably won't.
And basically the idea consists of them spraying Eddie down with this perfume, and their idea is to make him run outside and attract the bees away from the pool so they can get the girl out. This scene is just, this was the funniest thing I've ever witnessed. Whoever came up with the idea to put a camera inside Eddie's helmet so we can see his face while he's running, I love you. You deserve a raise, because that was everything I needed and more. So basically at the end of this, the idea works. It draws the bees away from the swimming pool. They get the girl out and everything's fine, and they save her. And at the end of this, you know, basically everything went well, and they're like, you know, the idea worked. And Buck is expecting to be complimented from his captain, because, you know, if we had Bobby would be like, you know, great job, Buck, like you did really well. Because Buck always be coming through, bro. Like, Buck is just so smart. And he's expecting like maybe a pat on the back from his captain, and obviously he doesn't get that from Gerard. Gerard is just like, what do you want, a trophy? Like, get in the truck. And I'm like, oh my god. Another thing I wanted to mention is, as I said before, Bobby is working on the set of this firefighter movie, and the lead actress who is playing the captain has become infatuated with Bobby because he learned that Bobby is basically a hero. Even though Bobby's really humble about it, he knows that he was, you know, the one on the cruise ship.
They tell me that you're a bit of a hero. Sunken Ferris wheel, or was it a cruise ship?
Well, both, actually.
So the rumors are true. You're an LAFD legend.
The actor basically tells him, like, he's gonna study him for his role, and he's just really obsessed with him. Like, it's really crazy. It's funny because he's supposed to be the star of the movie and this famous actress, and he's become infatuated with Bobby, who's a firefighter, and it's just really funny because Bobby's so polite, so of course he won't tell this guy to just like get away from him, and like, I'm not even supposed to be here. I don't even want to be here. I want to get back to my team at the 118, but basically since I was assigned here, I have to be here. I'm on duty. So Bobby's just really polite about it. It's just really funny to watch. So at the end of this episode, oh my god, this scene is so good. It's so good. The 118 is at the firehouse and they're polishing the truck, and they're all talking, and Gerard comes around and he's like, Buck, like, you missed a spot on the truck. And Buck is just like, where, sir? And he's like, right there. And Buck just wants to understand why he's giving him such a hard time, because obviously it's because, you know, he doesn't take it from him like the rest of them do. They just stay quiet and take it, which I guess makes their life just pretty much easier under Gerard because they still have to work for him. But Buck just simply wants to understand, so they're trying to warn him not to say anything, but he ends up turning around and he's like, is this because of my idea with the bees and the smoke? Like, I don't understand. And Gerard ends up telling him, like, no, like, you're just disrespectful. And like, so he goes on this whole spiel about how he's disrespectful and, you know, he doesn't respect the team, blah blah blah.
I need to remind you who's captain of this firehouse. I'm shocked you haven't washed out. You disrespectful. Is your skull too thick for that to sink in? Disgrace to the uniform. You're gonna get in line, bungle. You're gonna be in for a while. What the hell are you doing?
You gotta stop letting this guy get under your skin like this, Buck.
Get out water. What's the matter, Buckley? Do it again. Want me to pat you on the back like your daddy? Do it again.
And during the scene, Buck sort of like dissociates because Gerard is sounding like he sounds like his parents, but specifically he sounds like his dad. Like, it's kind of bringing him back to the time with his parents, and I'm just like, dude, this is sad. Like, why is he being like this? Like, Buck can never catch a break. Like, Buck is just one of the sweetest, most smartest people, like, especially when it comes to the 118. Like, I think he deserves everything. And the fact that people just won't give him a break. Like his parents, even when he was young, his parents just didn't love him like he was supposed to be loved. It's just so sad because like Buck is just so you know what I mean? So he's like kind of dissociating while he's listening to his captain, and eventually he goes to tackle Gerard, and I thought he was going to tackle him to like fight him, and I was fully cheering him on. I was like, yes, I've been waiting for this, he deserves this, do it. But we see that once he tackles him, there's a, like, you know, the saw wheels that people like construction workers use. The saw wheel comes off of the thing outside and is about to hit Gerard, and it ends up going into the fire truck.
You saved him.
Maybe killed him.
I'm assuming he's bleeding because he probably hit his head on the way down, but Buck is obviously shooken up because he doesn't really know why he did it. He was just like, so he's like freaking out.
He's gonna kill me. No, he's gonna fire me and then he's gonna kill me.
Why? You saved his life.
Is that what I did? Honestly, I don't really know because I just wanted to hit the guy.
Bro, dude has spidey senses for real. Like, I was like, did he know that was gonna happen? Like, something in the back of his head knew it was gonna happen and he like saved his life? Or did he really just want to hit him? You know what I mean? So obviously this sends him into like an existential crisis because he's like, oh my god, am I a bad person? Or like, am I a good person? Like, I don't know. It's always something. Like, Buck is always so in his head about everything, and I get it, but at the same time I'm like, dude, you saved his life. Like, I know he probably wasn't trying to, but he did it anyway, so take the credit. That's pretty much how episode 1 ends. At the beginning of episode 2, they end up sending Gerard to the ER because Hen checked his pupils and one of them was responding slower than the other. So they send him to the ER, and since he is not, you know, active captain, it makes Hen active captain while he's in the ER. So Hen is basically like,
So I guess that makes you the acting captain. Any orders, Cap?
All right. As acting captain while Gerard is incapacitated, my first order of business is a dance party. Let's go.
Next time Buzzsaw comes gunning for me, I hope you're close by. Oh!
the funniest thing I've ever seen. But so like I said, I didn't take a lot of notes on episode 2 just because that whole episode is basically about the plane collision. I didn't mention this, but at the beginning of episode 1 there is a plane flying. It's like a personal small plane flying, and they end up colliding with the airplane. And as you can imagine, Athena and her prisoner are on that plane. So that the whole next episode is about her trying to land the plane. So I didn't take a lot of notes on episode 2 just because of that. Like, that's pretty much the entire episode. But one thing I did want to mention from episode 2 is Bobby and Buck's relationship, like their father-son relationship, will never make me not smile. I love them so much because basically, like, Buck is just like, I just want my dad back, man. Like, he sees Bobby as such a father figure, and he's like, I just want my dad for real. So at the end of episode 2, they're getting called to go to the airport because Athena's about to land the plane, and Buck is going in a different direction, and Hen is like, where are you going? Like, we have a call. And he's like, I'm gonna meet you there. Like, I'm going to get Bobby. So he goes all the way to the set to go get Bobby, and right before Buck gets there, Bobby is learning about the plane, and he had listened to the voicemail that Athena left him, because Athena left him a message or a voicemail while she was on the plane because he wouldn't pick up because he was on set. And right as soon as he's about to like turn around, Buck is there like calling his name.
Bobby!
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Bobby!
Athena's on that flight, isn't she?
She's flying.
Of course she is. What else would she be doing?
I just love that Bobby knows the woman he married, because he's like, of course she's gonna be flying the plane. Like, what else would she be doing? And I love that Buck went to go get Bobby because he's like, I need my dad in this situation because my mom is in trouble. Like, I love them. So basically, those are the notes that I made for episode 2. Like I said, there wasn't much I wanted to touch on in episode 2. I'm assuming a lot of you watching this have seen it. So that's pretty much my review for the first 2 episodes. I'm so happy this is back on. I love this show so much, and I'm so happy to learn that a lot of you love this show too. I just love it because I love that I have people to talk to about it. It is so much fun. This is all I've ever wanted. It's just people to talk to about my interests. I love it too much. Guys, that's pretty much it for this review. If you guys liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment down below of your opinions on these first 2 episodes. Obviously, I'm going to be doing the whole season, so look forward to more of these. Also, let me know what other movies or series you want me to review. Right now, I'm also reviewing Heartstopper, so if you guys want to see that, I'll link the videos down below that I have done so far. And I'm doing it all the way from season 1, so go ahead and check that out. But yeah, guys, so excited that this show is back on, so be looking forward to more of these videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!